When Herpa Wings released their Airbus A350-1000 in the Qatar Airways OneWorld livery, it turned out to be a complete disaster, in fact one of the worst models ever to be released in Scale 500. But just a few years earlier, in 2019, Herpa did release a Qatar Airways OneWorld A350-900, and that was quite a bit different. And with that, hello and welcome to a new episode of Review, where we today will take a closer look at an Airbus A350-900 of Qatar Airways. At the front of the box we have a cutout, so we can get a glimpse of the aircraft model inside, and on top of that we have the Qatar Airways branding. Now on the back side of the box we can see this is obviously not a recent release, which means we don't have quite as much Herpa nonsense. We are getting a lovely image of the aircraft in real life. Now we don't really get any further information about the aircraft, we also don't have any web links that don't work anymore. We can simply see that this is a limited edition and, crucially, that this is a Wings Club edition or Wings Club model. And here she is, the Airbus A350-900 in the OneWorld livery of Qatar Airways. Now, as mentioned, this aircraft model was released from Herpa Wings back in 2019, but I only got it last year, so 2024. So why on earth did I wait 5 years to get this aircraft model? Well, when it first was released, there were very strong indications that the airline would be leaving the airline alliance, and so I didn't want to splash the cash on such a model. But obviously this never materialized, and the airline is still part of OneWorld. So I thought it is about time that we take a look at this aircraft model, because it does offer quite a bit. So fasten your seatbelts and enjoy your drinks, and let's take a look at what the model actually offers collectors. And as always, we start off with the tail section, where we on the vertical stabilizer have the Qatar Airways branding. On the fuselage we then find the Qatari flag and the full registration code of the aircraft, and you might say, is that all? No, do also notice quite a bit more detailing here in the cabin door. That's not something we usually get with Herpa. And towards the very tail of the aircraft we do of course have a bit of detailing around the APU exhaust, and also when we look on top of the fuselage we do have the addition of a sat dome. And from the sat dome we can then move on to the front of the aircraft, where we across the fuselage have the writing of, well, OneWorld or member of OneWorld. We have the Qatar branding, both with the English writing and also the Arabic writing. And then of course we also have quite a few static ports here. That's quite lovely, always adds quite a bit to an aircraft model. We of course next to the cabin door again have the OneWorld logo and some detailing in the cabin door itself. But the highlight for me here is actually the cockpit section, where we have a plethora of static ports and sensors, petro tubes. Looks really lovely, combined with the black raccoon mask around the cockpit windows with the metallic edges, the window wipers, and above that the emergency hatch for the cockpit. A really lovely sight, and how every A350 from Herpa Wings in Scale 500 should look. So the cockpit really did not disappoint, but what about the rest of the aircraft? Well, if we look at the engine nacelles, they have been given the typical Qatar Airways grey coloring and the Qatar Airways branding, alongside with the silver leading edge and some safety markings that have been printed on, unusual of course for 2019 with Herpa Wings. The physical detailing of these engines, in my opinion, is faultless, looks really lovely, especially here from the front. Very nice, you can see the engine fan blades. And from the engines we can move on to the wings, which we should also take a closer look at, starting off with the top side. And yes, we do have the flap slats and spoilers carved out. We even have the marking as to where to walk on the wing, but compared to the rest of the aircraft this almost seems kind of bare-boned, even though this already is beyond the standard of 2019. The underside of the wings has nice physical detailing and the full registration code of the aircraft, and of course the A350 also has these lovely winglets with the color scheme and branding of Qatar Airways. The highlight for me on the wings, however, is the fact that we do have the landing lights printed on. Always lovely to see. The landing gear, that is the standard landing gear that Herpa uses for all the Airbus A350, so nothing majorly to be announced here, except for the fact that we do have printed details at the front landing gear. What a lovely sight. Now on the belly of the aircraft we do have the Qatar Airways branding that has of course immediately been destroyed by Herpa Wings by adding a hole in the fuselage for a stand. Now I did get this aircraft model second hand, and I believe when it was sold first hand it did come with a stand, mine didn't have it. But in any case, if you have to destroy printed details to add this hole, then I would rather see you leave it away. And then last but not least, we do also have the doors to the cargo compartments, but it is here worth mentioning that Herpa has actually put a little bit more effort into this, as it is not just the usual squares that they've printed on, but they have actually added some detailing to this. Lovely. So there we have it, the Airbus A350-900 from Qatar Airways and the OneWorld livery from Herpa Wings in scale 1 to 500. And what can we say about this aircraft model? This is one of those models that makes me happy and a little bit sad, to be honest. Happy because it is a really solid Scale 500 aircraft model. This is the standard that Herpa should have with all their Scale 500 models, not just back in 2019, but also today. We have a lovely mold. Yes, the nose section of Herpa's A350-1000 mold is better than on their 900 mold, but when you add so many printed details around the nose section, then you hardly notice that. And since we are talking prints, yes, this is of course what really majorly pulls up this aircraft model. I mean, just the amount of details we have. Yes, just the landing lights themselves make me happy. And the print quality itself is really good on this aircraft model. So yes, of course, I can only say that this aircraft model is worth having in one's collection. If you want to do yourself a favor and have a nice Scale 500 aircraft model in your collection, then this is definitely a good shout. So why would this aircraft model make me a little bit sad? I mean, if you are a regular viewer or just an avid Scale 500 collector, you will probably already know. I mean, this aircraft model truly shows how much Herpa is holding back with their products. Yes, this is a Wings Club model, which always have more details than Herpa's standard products. But it just shows it is possible for Herpa. They do care. When they really want to make a nice product, then they can succeed. And these Wings Club models don't cost them more than standard models. So it is just Herpa constantly holding back. This is from 2019 and it easily beats what Herpa releases, even with the so-called additional details in 24, in 25 and probably even 26. So needless to say that of course all Airbus A350s from Herpa Wings should look like this, and there is no excuse for them not to do so. But what are your thoughts? Is Herpa deliberately holding back and cheating us collectors out of details? Let me know in the comment section below. And on that note, it is time to end today's episode. If you have enjoyed this video, then feel free to leave a like. If you're new around here, why not hit subscribe? With that, thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.